find a comfortable seat where you can sit up tall, cross-legged or kneeling, and let your sitting bones rest down into the mat. Place your hands on your legs in a way that they can be at ease too. And then lengthen up through your spine. Check in that there's a quality of ease in the muscles of your face and a softness in your tongue and your jaw. And let your breath begin to slow down. Each breath beginning low in your torso, and let it gradually rise up towards your chest and collarbones. When you breathe out, let the air pass gently out through your nostrils and tone your belly to press the last breath away. Slow and deep breaths. We're working towards full yogic breathing. Now bring your hands together, interlace your fingers, and roll your knuckles and wrists around a few times. We're preparing these joints so we can put some weight on them. And then release your hands, shake out your hands, and come to your hands and knees. First, we'll come to cat lift and cat tuck. So once you feel stable, on your next inhale, roll your pelvis forward, stretch your chest forward, bring your gaze forward. And then when you breathe out, round your back, tuck your tailbone down, bring your chin towards your chest. Slow back to the inhale, stretch your front body, roll your shoulders back. And as you exhale, dome your spine, bring your tailbone and your head down. 2 more. Inhale to stretch into cat lift. And exhale, curling cat tuck. And as you inhale, this pose is also known as cow pose. And with the exhale, into cat pose. Let's actually do 1 more. So a nice slow breath in. Let your spine arc. And as you breathe out, tailbone down, head down. Okay, and then come back to a neutral spine. Take your knees a bit wider. Set yourself for child's pose. Bring your hips back towards your heels. Let's take 2 slow breaths. So as you inhale, let your breath start low in your torso and work its way gradually up towards your collarbones. And when you exhale, feel the warmth of your breath against your mat. And 1 more slow one, right up to the top, followed by a deep exhale. Okay. Bring yourself back up to your hands and knees. Let's set up for down dog. So with your hands ahead of your shoulders, curl your toes under, lift your knees away from the ground. And as you meet down dog, you can pedal out your heels a little bit or make any kind of motions that you need to set yourself up for comfort. Make sure you're well engaged through your hands to protect your wrists. Press down through the pads of your fingers. Smooth your shoulder blades down your back. Give your neck some space. And then let the movement slow down. So if you're pedaling out your heels, just bring yourself back towards symmetry so we can catch up with our breath. And let's take 3 more slow breaths. So a deep inhale, starting from belly, moving up towards your chest. And a long exhale that gradually brings you back towards your pelvic floor. Another inhale, nice and slow. Let your ribs gradually expand. And a long exhale, relax the back of your neck. And then 1 more time, breathing in, nice and deep. And a slow exhale to follow. All right, now put a little bend in your knees and look forward. Bring your feet up to your hands. We're coming to Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Take the next inhale to lengthen your spine up to a half lift. And then as you bow in, bend your knees so you can hinge at your hips. You could have your hands on your shins, hands on blocks, your fingertips underneath your shoulders. Let's work for a couple more slow breaths in the forward fold. And so try to concentrate particularly on how well you're breathing out. Let each exhale be very complete. So you can feel that space at the bottom of the exhalation where your pelvic floor lifts and your lower belly tones. We'll take one more steady breath, followed by a long exhale. Okay, now with your hands firm under your shoulders, step your feet wider out towards the edges of your mat and turn your toes out a little bit wider than your heels. Begin to bend at your knees and hips to come down into squat malasana, where you're welcome to put your hips on a block. Take your hands together, palms towards heart center, and use some strength in your arms to press your knees open. Let the back of your pelvis settle down so your lower back has lots of room, and then lift up through the center of your chest. Let's take a couple more breaths. So a slow inhale, followed by a long exhale. And one more. Breathe in deep. And exhale slow. Okay. Bring your fingertips back down. So as you press through your hands, lift your hips a bit higher, high enough that you can bring your feet closer. We'll come up to a halfway lift. So as you inhale, lengthen your spine. Now tone your lower belly, lift it up towards your spine, and put a little bend in your knees. And then with your hands at your hips, gradually on your next inhale, rise up to stand. Coming up to mountain pose. Once you're upright, let your arms come down by your sides. Okay, so bring your attention to your feet, the arches of your feet. Try to bring your weight over the arches of your feet. And then lengthen up through the back of your neck and the crown of your head while you allow your shoulders to relax and your arms to relax, with your palms turned forward enough that you feel a broad, open space to breathe into, that you feel a balanced sense of posture. Tadasana mountain pose. Okay, so we're going to move into classical sun salutations. So with your next inhale, float your arms up overhead, a full stretch. And as you exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Then breathe in to lengthen your spine, a half lift. As you exhale, step your right foot back and lower your right knee down to the mat. So a low lunge with an inhale, lift your upper body, slowly bring your arms up too. And as you exhale, lean forward and bring your hands down to the ground. Let's inhale back to down dog. So lift your hips up and back. And take a slow exhale to ground down through your finger pads. And with your inhale, plank pose, gradually roll forward. And then breathe out to bend your elbows, lower right down to the mat. We'll take this one to cobra. So as you inhale, gradually lift through your chest and the back edges of your ears. And as you breathe out, come back to downward facing dog. Moving with an inhale, float your right leg up. And as you breathe out, step your right foot up to your right hand. Another low lunge. With an inhale, lift your chest, lift your arms too. And as you exhale, lean forward, bring your hands down. We'll step forward this time, so bring your left foot up, a halfway lift at the top of your inhale. And then a forward fold as you breathe out. Let's come to stand, gradually rise, come up to a full stretch. And then mountain pose, settle your shoulders, let your arms come by your sides. Moving again with an inhale, lift your chest, lift your arms. And then a slow exhale to bow forward, Uttanasana. With an inhale, lengthen up to a halfway lift. Then step your left foot back, a low lunge, set your knee down to the mat. As you inhale, lift your chest and arms, stretching up, low lunge. And as you breathe out, lean forward, bring your hands to the ground. Down dog on your inhale. And also down dog on your exhale. Okay, now with a slow inhale, roll forward to plank. Remember, your knees can come to the mat or stay lifted. And as you breathe out, bend your elbows, passing through chaturanga right down to the ground. Untuck your toes, Bhujangasana Cobra pose on an inhale. And then downward facing dog on the exhale. Float your left leg up as you breathe in, three-legged dog. Step your left foot forward, rest your right knee down, a low lunge. As you inhale, lift your upper body, bring your arms up as well. And then exhale, lean forward, reach your hands ahead of your left foot, and step forward, land both feet in a half lift. As you exhale, bow in. Then rise slow to stand, right up to a full stretch. Mountain pose as you breathe out. Okay, let's do this one more time on each side with an inhale, a full stretch. Bow forward, nice and slow, Uttanasana. With an inhale, a halfway lift, roll your shoulders back. Step your right foot back, rest your right knee down to the ground, nice and steady. With a slow inhale, lift your upper body, bring your arms up too. Then with the exhale, lean forward, plant your hands firm for down dog. With an inhale, lift your hips up and back. And stay with down dog as you exhale, well grounded. Now slow on the inhale, come forward into plank. Roll your shoulders back again. With your exhale, bend your elbows, lower down to the mat. Cobra, if you prefer up dog, this could be a chance to come with your hips floating and arms straight. And then downward facing dog, fold from your hips and lengthen your spine. Breathe in to float your right leg up to three-legged dog. And then step your right foot forward, rest your left knee to the mat. With a slow inhale, lift your upper body, your arms too. And then breathe out to lean forward, reach ahead of your right foot so you can step forward into the halfway lift with a long spine. And exhale to bow in fully. Rise up to stand, nice and slow, up to a full stretch, which will turn into mountain pose as you breathe out. Okay, one more side, breathe in again, raise your arms, a lift through your chest. And then bow forward from your hips, steady to Uttanasana. With an inhale, lengthen through your spine, a half lift. Step your left foot back, let your left knee rest down so you can move with the inhale, lifting your chest, build the back bend slow. And as you exhale, lean forward, bring your hands down to the mat. For down dog, float your hips up and back, very even through your feet. And spend the exhalation grounding into down dog. Now, as you breathe in, come forward again, slowly into plank pose. And breathe out to lower towards your mat. So the back bend again could be cobra or upward facing dog, a slow inhale. And then downward facing dog to come to the forward fold of your hips. Now raise your left leg up, slow to three-legged dog. And step your left foot forward, bring your right knee down to the mat, a low lunge again. As you inhale, lift your upper body, your arms too. And then exhale, lean forward, set your fingertips ahead of your foot. Step your right foot forward, that becomes a halfway lift, a long spine. And as you exhale, bow in nice and slow. So we'll come to stand with an inhale, rise up, reach up two. And then exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. So let's keep moving with an inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale for chair pose. Utkatasana, so bend your knees, settle down. We're going to take 5 slow breaths, so breathe in into chair. And a long exhale, right down to the bottom, toning through your lower belly, and inhale again. And an exhale. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, now with the next inhale, hold chair pose. But as you breathe out, fold forward, lift your hips, bring your fingertips down. Now step your right foot back. We're going to come to a high lunge. So with a bend in your left knee, lift your upper body. Bring your hands to your hips to begin, and then roll your left hip back and draw it down while you hug your right inner thigh forward. Raise your arms as you're ready. If your arms ever need a break, you can bring your hands to your heart. So from this point, let's take 3 slow breaths. A slow inhale and a long exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, lean forward, bring your hands down. Step your foot forward, come up to a halfway lift. Then bow in as you breathe out. Okay, let's switch sides. Step your left foot back, high lunge, second side. So once you're steady, lift your upper body. Bring your hands to your hips like the first time. Here, roll your right hip back, let it settle down, and hug your left inner thigh forward. While you keep your pelvis this steady, you can change your arms if you like, hands to heart center, or raise your arms again. 3 slow breaths. As you're ready, a deep inhale. A long exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, now lean forward, bring your hands down to the mat. Let's step this one back to downward facing dog. So lift your hips up, plant down through your fingers. As you breathe in, come forward into plank pose. Your knees can be up or down to the mat. And with an exhale, bend your elbows to lower. Let's take this to your favorite back bend as you breathe in. And then downward facing dog as you breathe out. Okay. So we're going to take this through to warrior one pose. As you inhale, float your left leg up. And then step your left foot forward, up to your left hand, and spin your right heel to the ground. Lift your upper body, and let's make a few adjustments from here. So first, check out your back foot. Have it turned forward about 30 degrees or so, 30 or 45 degrees. And lunge your left knee over your left heel, so your shin bone is vertical. Try to turn out your right leg, your back leg, directly from your hip. And so you're using your glutes. And then roll your left shoulder back and lift through the center of your chest with your arms at heart center, hands at heart center rather, or your arms raised. 3 breaths from here. Breathe in slow. Exhale completely. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. And exhale. Bring your hands to your hips. Straighten out your left leg. Make your stride a bit shorter, about a leg length long. Roll your left hip back, and as you breathe in, lift up through the center of your chest. As you exhale, fold from your hips, toning your lower belly to support your back. On the way down, your hands can come down your leg onto blocks or the ground, or you can interlace your fingers behind your lower back. In either case, keep your hips rolled back, the center of your chest lengthening forward. Float up through the fronts of your shoulders so you can feel some toning in your upper back. And if you've clasped your hands, you're welcome to lift your hands away from your lower back. Let's take 2 more slow breaths from here. So as you breathe in, try to make your spine a little bit longer. As you exhale, maybe gravity guides you towards your left shin bone. Okay, again, a slow inhale. And a full exhale. Okay, let's stay low to the ground. Reach down, bend your left knee, step back into downward facing dog. As you do, just take a moment to smooth out your spine, balance your weight one side to another. Okay, so let's take this over to the right leg. As you inhale, float your right leg up. And exhale to step your right foot forward, warrior one. So ground your back heel and lift your upper body. Okay, so make sure that your back foot isn't turned too wide. The further forward you can turn your toes, the easier it'll be to face forward through your chest. Make sure whatever outturn you have in your left leg is coming right from your hip. So your outer left hip is active and holding your leg turned out this way. At the same time, lunge your right knee over your heel, roll your right shoulder back, the right side of your rib cage back, so you're facing forward by the time you meet your rib cage and your head. Your hands can stay low or they can be at heart center, they can be raised too. 3 breaths from here. Breathe in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Straighten out your right leg. Make your stride probably a bit shorter, about 1 leg length long. Roll your right hip back. As you breathe in with your feet firm, lift through the center of your chest. Tone your lower belly, lean forward gradually, let some stretch develop. Take your hands to the same place as the first side, so down your leg, maybe to blocks or clasping your hands. On your next inhale, try to lengthen your spine a little bit further. Float the fronts of your shoulders away from the mat. As you breathe out, there may be space to move in towards your leg. Let's take 2 more and inhale slow. And exhale. 1 more. And exhale. Stay leaning forward. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Put a little bend in your front knee. Step your left foot forward and come up to a halfway lift into a long spine. And as you exhale, bow in. Finish off the breath completely. Let's rise to stand. A slow inhale, lift through your chest, your arms reaching. And back to mountain pose as you breathe out. Okay. Let's take a slow breath in. A clearing breath. Okay. Turn towards the long left side of your mat. And then take about a straddle length stride. So move your feet nice and wide. First, parallel to each other. Then bring your hands to your hips. Put a little bend into your left knee. And then turn your left foot towards the back of your mat and lunge your left knee over your left heel. Okay. Turn your upper body towards the long left side of your mat and open your arms wide, settle down through your shoulders. Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Let's take 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Straighten out your left leg. Turn your right big toe just ahead of your right heel. So your hips angle a little more forward than they were in Warrior 2. This is for triangle. With an inhale, reach forward through your left hand, tipping your pelvis. And with an exhale, lower your left hand down to your left leg or a block or the ground. Stretch your right arm nice and wide so it moves wide away from your left collarbone and left shoulder. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. Try to keep some stability through your core by a gentle lift through your pelvic floor, your lower belly towards your spine. Let's take 2 more slow breaths in this pose. So an inhale soon. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. You put a little bend in your left knee. Bring yourself back up to stand. Turn your feet both to the long left edge of your mat again. Then put a little bend into your right knee. Turn your right foot forward and lunge your right knee over your right heel. Keep your chest turned towards the long left side of your mat. So you may need to roll your left shoulder back a little bit. And then send your arms open wide. Settle your shoulders down. Let's take 3 breaths, breathing in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Exhale. Okay, bring your left hand to your left hip. Straighten out your right leg. Turn your left big toe just ahead of your left heel so your hips can take a slight forward angle too. With an inhale, reach out through your right hand, let your hips tilt. And with an exhale, bring your right hand down to steady you. So keep your chest turned wide, lift up through your left arm. We'll inhale slow. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. And exhale. Put a little bend in your right knee. Steadily come back upright. Bring your hands to your hips. Turn your feet to the long left side of your mat again. You can heel toe your feet in or hop them into each other. And then turn to face the front of your mat and take a step forward near the front of your mat. Our next pose is Warrior 3. If you'd like to use blocks, bring them towards the front of your mat. Take your hands to your hips, breathe in to lengthen your spine, and bring your weight onto your left foot. Take a very small step back with your right foot, straighten out your right leg. Try to keep your upper body and right leg on the same line. Begin to fold forward from your left hip crease. So as you lean forward, like all forward folds, lift from your lower belly towards your spine. And like we did in pyramid pose, float the fronts of your shoulders up. Your hands can stay at your hips. You could bring them to heart center. You could extend your arms forward, bringing your palms to face each other. You can also reach your hands down to blocks. Okay, let's take 2 more slow breaths. Know that you're breathing in and exhaling. One more. And exhale. We're going to come back up to mountain pose with a little bend in your left knee. Lift your upper body, lower your right foot. As your right foot lands, let yourself get grounded on both feet. Take your hands back to your hips. With an inhale, lengthen out your spine. As you breathe out, take a small step back with your left foot. Let your heels stay raised, your left leg is straight. Inhale to lengthen out your spine again. And then when you exhale, start the forward fold at your right hip while you lift your left leg. Your upper body and left leg are tilting forward as if they're still in mountain pose. Stability drawn up through your lower belly, through your pelvic floor. Try to keep your hips at an even height. 2 more breaths. And inhale. And exhale. One more, inhale. Exhale. Gradually press down through your right foot to help lift your upper body. Lower your left foot near your right foot. Let your arms come down by your sides again. Just allow your body to relax. Okay. Now, as you breathe in again, float your arms up. And as you exhale, bow forward from your hips, bring your hands under your shoulders, step your right foot back, and spin your right heel flat to the ground. Bring your left elbow onto your left thigh and your right hand onto your right hip. Turn your chest towards the right side of the room. Keep your left knee facing forward, your left hip tucked under, and extend your right fingertips away from your right heel, like you're taking a full stretch. Let's take 3 more breaths from here. Extended side angle. Inhale slow. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. And exhale. Bring your right hand to your hip, heel toe your right foot a bit closer to your left. Reach forward through your left hand, half moon pose. Take a step forward onto your left foot and raise your right leg, floating your right hip above your left. Your left hand can be on a block or the ground. With your right hand at your right hip, lift your right hip up, and then if you wish, extend your right fingertips up towards the ceiling. 2 more breaths, and inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, look down, lower your right hand. Let's come to a standing forward fold. So gradually bring your right foot down. Maybe your hands are on blocks to support you well. Breathe into a halfway lift, lengthening. And as you breathe out, step your left foot back, spin your heel flat to the ground, and bring your right elbow to your right thigh, your left hand to your left hip. Turn your torso sideways with your right hip tucked under your right knee, facing forward. Extend your left fingertips away from your left heel, like you're taking a full stretch. Inhale slow. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Bring your left hand to your left hip. Heel toe your left foot a little closer to your right so you can reach your right hand ahead to a block or to the ground. Take a step onto your right leg and then float your left leg up, half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. So while you lift your left hip, try to keep your right knee turned forward, your right hip rolled back. 2 more breaths. Maybe you lift your left hand. Let's take an inhale and an exhale. Steady breath in. Full breath out. Look down, bring your left hand down and slowly lower your left foot near your right foot. Let both feet land evenly. Breathe in to lengthen out your spine again. And as you exhale, bow in. Okay. Breathe in, rise up to stand. Take a full stretch at the top. And then bring your arms down by your sides, back to mountain pose. Okay, let's take a complete breath in. Exhale through your mouth. Okay, bring your hands to your hips. Shift your weight into your left foot. Step your right foot back about a leg length and bring your heel down to the ground. As you'd set up pyramid pose, this will be revolved triangle pose. As you breathe in, roll your left hip back, lift through the center of your chest and your right arm. And then as you breathe out, tip forward from your hips and bring your right hand down. It can be a block or the ground, either underneath your right shoulder or to your outer left foot for a bit of a further twist. Press down firmly through your right hand. Try to keep your right outer foot grounded too, and gradually turn your upper body towards the left, using the strength of your core thoroughly. So a lift in your pelvic floor, lower belly towards your spine, and the center of your chest extended forward. As your left shoulder lifts, you can keep your hand on your hip or reach up towards the ceiling. 2 more breaths. Breathe in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Look down, bring your left hand down. Step your foot forward, come up to a halfway lift at the front of your mat, steady on both legs, and an exhale to bow. Rise up to stand, come up to a full stretch, and then bring your hands down to your hips. Okay, now shift your weight into your right foot, step your left foot back, about a leg length, bring your heel down, raise your left arm, roll your right hip back, breathe in. As you exhale, fold forward from your hips with support through your core. Lower your left hand. That can be underneath your left shoulder or to your outer right foot. In either case, press your left hand down firmly. Press down through the outer edge of your left foot as best as you can, and then turn your torso gradually towards the right. If you're comfortable to raise your right arm, you can do so. Let's take 2 more breaths. Inhale slow. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Look down, lower your right hand, put a little bend in your right knee. Step your left foot forward. Again, come up to a halfway lift. And as you exhale, bow in. Breathe in to rise up to stand. Stretch out at the top. And then to mountain pose as you breathe out. Okay, rest your hands on your hips. Turn towards the long right side of your mat. Take a straddle length stride. You can adjust the width of your feet. Slightly pigeon toe, bring your big toes very so slightly inwardly. Now press down evenly through the soles of your feet and breathe in to lengthen your spine. This is a wide-legged forward fold. As you exhale, tip forward from your hips. Bring your hands down underneath your shoulders. Once your hands have landed, extend to a halfway lift as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, if there's space to bow in further, go ahead. Your hands can stay underneath your shoulders. You're also welcome to walk your hands out towards your feet, taking a grip around your ankles or outer calves, and use that grip to gently guide your upper body in. Let's take 2 more full breaths. So on the inhale, there's more length in your spine. Reach out through the center of your chest, but as you exhale, follow the journey of the exhale right down to the bottom. 1 more. Slow inhale. And a long exhale. Okay, put a little bend in your knees, steady through your core, rise up to stand. Once you're upright, with your hands to your hips, heel toe your feet in towards each other so they're underneath your shoulders. We're going to stay facing sideways and take tree pose, first standing on your left foot. Tree pose Vrikshasana. So shift your weight into your left foot, bend your right knee, open your right knee towards the right, place your foot either below or above your knee. Your hands can come to heart center or your arms could be raised up overhead. 3 slow breaths with an inhale. And an exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more. Inhale. And exhale. Turn your right knee forward, place your right foot to the ground. Let's shift right away into that foot. A little bend comes to your left knee. Open your left knee towards the side. Place your foot lower or higher than your knee. Meanwhile, you've probably lowered your hands, hopefully. And as you set up your feet, bring your palms together or raise your arms again. Okay, find your drishti. 3 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more. Inhale. And exhale. Okay. Turn your left knee forward, place your foot down. Now turn towards the front of your mat, actually come right to the top of your mat. As you breathe in, float your arms up overhead, stretch out. And as you exhale, bow forward. As you bow in, bring your hands down, step back into plank pose. Once you've met plank pose, bring your feet together to touch. Walk your left hand just ahead of your shoulder, about an inch ahead, and roll your left shoulder back and away from your ear. Roll onto your outer left foot, turn your whole body towards the right, and bring your right hand up to your right hip. Press your hips up into your right hand, and then raise your right arm up overhead. You can also turn your right palm forward and reach your fingertips forward. And inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, look down, gradually lower your right hand, turn to face your mat. Now bring your right hand about an inch ahead of your shoulder. Roll your right shoulder back, roll to the outer edge of your right foot. Bring your left hand to your left hip and press your hips up into your hands. Maybe you raise your left arm up overhead or turn your palm forward and extend your fingertips forward. Breathe in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, with care, look down, lower your left hand, bring your knees down to the mat. We're going to move into pigeon pose, first on your left leg. So slide your left knee forward behind your left wrist and keep your left foot lifted, but move your left foot towards the right. See what angle your shin bone's willing to take on. If there's space to walk your right knee back, you're welcome to. And then you can slip a bolster underneath both hips or a block underneath your left hip. As you inhale, lift and lengthen through your spine. And as you exhale, bow in. Feel free to take the second block underneath your forehead or underneath your elbows. Okay, let's take 3 slow breaths, inhaling. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. Exhale. Okay, lift your head, walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. If you moved your right knee back, edge it forward a little bit so you can bring your knees back towards each other, back to all fours, and switch sides by first moving your right knee behind your right wrist. While your right foot is lifted, carry your foot towards the left. Just see what kind of rotation your leg will comfortably take on. You can walk your left knee back if you're okay to do that through your hips and your right knee. Sitting on a bolster underneath both hips or a block underneath your right hip. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to bow. Okay, so maybe the second block comes underneath you. Let's take 3 more, breathing in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. And exhale. Bring your left knee forward, lift your head, and then come back to your hands and knees. So we're going to come to our seat next. You can just slide your hips around to one side and bring your legs out ahead of you. Center yourself on your mat, and with your knees bent, bring the soles of your feet towards each other. You can either let the balls of your feet come close or fold your feet open like a book. Widen your sitting bones. Bring your hands to your ankles or shins, grab a hold, and as you breathe in, lift and lengthen through the center of your chest. And when you breathe out, try to fold forward from your hips. And there will come a gentle rounded shape to your spine. If your elbows come close towards your inner legs, you can use them to gently press your legs down. So this is bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana. Each time you breathe in, bring a little extra length through your spine. And when you breathe out, follow the space where the breath used to be. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly lift your chest back up. Now we're going to recline. So come onto your back, and when you're there, bend your knees and place the soles of your feet to the ground. I'm going to guide into bridge pose. If you'd prefer to take wheel pose, then you could choose that instead. Walk your heels towards your sitting bones with your feet feeling about hip width distance apart, your toes turned forward. Tuck your shoulder blades underneath you and bring your arms down by your sides. Press down through your feet and arms and slowly lift your hips up, and press down through the backs of your arms again to give an extra little lift through your chest. Let's take 4 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, roll your shoulder blades out from underneath you and gradually lower yourself down onto your mat again. Bring your knees in towards your chest and take a couple breaths. Allow your back body some space. Where we're going to head next is into an inversion, reverse posture, either in a supported form or shoulder stand. You're most welcome, if you have a wall nearby, to put your legs at the wall too. So choose either to slide a block underneath your hips, or if you intend to lift your hips up into your hands, begin with your hips down, your feet up, and then roll up through your spine and bend your elbows. Take your hands to the back of your hips. And as much as you can, tuck your shoulder blades underneath you so you can prop up your hips well. And if you're working with your hips on a block instead, you can either have your arms down on the ground or elevate your arms. So let's take about 6 slow breaths with the inversion. You can hold for longer if you wish to. But when you breathe, let's reverse the breathing pattern. So your breath is going to move from your rib cage in an upward direction up towards your belly. So basically moving your inhale away from the ground and your exhale towards it. So as you're ready, breathe in slow from your chest up towards your belly. And as you exhale, let your belly settle and your ribs settle. Again, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, begin to lower your body back down until your hips have come to the ground, and bend your knees so your feet are on the ground again too. The next posture is fish pose, Matsyasana. So start by tucking your arms underneath you and lay your palms flat. And then extend your legs so your heels are on the mat, the backs of your legs are down. And flex either through your ankles or press out through the balls of your feet. And then as you press through your palms and elbows, bend your elbows to lift your shoulders. And once your chest is elevated, roll your shoulders back and gradually bring your head back and down. So there comes a back bend where the highest point is the center of your chest. If your head doesn't meet the ground comfortably, you can also bring a block underneath your head. That would be resetting the pose and trying again. Okay, we'll take 3 more slow breaths in the pose as best as you can in the back bend. Breathe in up into the back of your breastbone and exhale nice and slow. Again, inhale, exhale. Once more, inhale and exhale. Lift your head back up, widen your arm bones underneath you, come to lie on your back and bend your knees and bring your knees in towards your chest. Okay. Last pose before Shavasana, a reclined twist. Bring the soles of your feet to the ground, stretch your arms out wide, then move your hips a couple inches to the left. Set your hips down, lift your feet, keep your knees bent, aligned over your hips like you're swiveling in a chair. Bring your knees down towards the right. And they can land on a bolster or a block, or you can place one between your knees. If your right hand is close, bring it down to your top knee. And your outstretched left arm, your palm can be turned up, but you can also turn your palm down and bend your elbow to bring your hand closer to your back or closer to your hips. Okay, let's take 2 more really slow breaths with a twist. So inhale deeply, let the breath press against your spine. As you exhale, try to soften through your left shoulder. Okay, one more time, inhale slow. And exhale. Anchor your arms down, lift your knees either one at a time or together, and then set your feet down to lift and move your hips, this time slightly over to the right, so your left hip is centered. And then lift your feet up again. Carefully lower your knees down towards the left. That can be to find a block or a bolster or the ground. You can also place some support between your knees. Rest your left hand on your right leg, right outer knee or thigh, to help ground your legs. And not mentioned on the first side, but your gaze can be in the direction your chest is facing or towards the ceiling or over to the right. And do adjust your right arm any way that you need for comfort. Okay, 2 more slow breaths. An inhale, rising carefully up through the front of your spine. And an exhale to help settle your right shoulder, your ribs. And again, inhale. Exhale. Press down through your arms to help lift your knees with care back up to center. Bring your feet down, settle yourself back into the middle of your mat, and bring your knees in towards your chest. Not one of our core poses, but you're most welcome to take happy baby pose and rock side to side a few times. When you feel ready to release and relax, then take your time to stretch out in Shavasana. And perhaps you put a blanket over you or a bolster underneath your knees. And it can be difficult when you're working alone to take Shavasana for long enough. And so I'm going to keep this mildly guided, and just to help your attention stay with your body. So as you come onto your back, let your hips become the anchor of the pose. And extend your legs out, reach out one leg at a time, and then let the muscles of your legs relax, so your legs can roll any which way. And then press down through your hips and the back of your head and tuck each shoulder blade underneath you. And then rest down firmly on your shoulder blades. So your spine is held between these two anchors of your hips and shoulders. And your spine is floating, and it can be at ease with the rhythm of your breath. Ensure that your neck feels long, and through your face and jaw, let the muscles of your jaw relax, your tongue. Notice if there's any effort still held in your face, any remnants of a pose. And try to let these release now. The ground is supporting you firmly. You can allow your body to melt into its support. And the ground feels your body. And even a firm surface will mold itself in some way to the shape of you. Trust your body to breathe. And notice how it feels to be a still, vital, breathing body. Your next inhale, make it a little slower, a little deeper. Open your mouth, exhale. Gradually bring some movement into your fingers and your toes. If you have room to stretch out long, then reach your arms overhead and press your feet forward. Then bend your knees and roll over to your right side. Carefully bring your top hand down to lift your upper body. Return to a comfortable seat, taking a few moments to sit up tall and to settle down through your shoulders again. Once you've found your seat, bring your palms together to heart center. So I invite you to share in this call of Om to seal our practice. First, a clearing breath, a slow inhale. Long exhale. Breathe in for Om. Namaste.